I am Ashley Amoth and I'm currently in Form 4 and this year I'm turning 17 years old. I came to Precious Blood Secondary School in 2013 at around 20th February, and the midterm was the following week. So I was full of expectations for my life, especially because I had come to a school that I wanted to come to. And when I went back home during the midterm, I lost my mom like 2 days during the midterm, and it devastated me. It's like my world came crashing down before my very eyes. And when I came back to school, things were not the same. It was actually worse because I felt the absence of my family and my siblings, and it made the situation worse. So I used to see people coming to the library in school, and one day I decided to come myself. And when I came, I actually came to do some homework research that we were given by our Kiswahili teacher. And I saw Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in the shelf, and I was actually surprised because I didn't know that it was there. I just thought the library was full of books, educational material, the atlas, chemistry books. But I saw this book and it fascinated me because when I was at home, even when I was still with my mom, we used to read this book and she loved it and I loved it as well. I borrowed the book actually in that weekend, and when I started reading it again, it gave me a new perception towards it. I used to just love the fantasy part of it and how Harry Potter was the hero of everyone. But this time it gave me a new perception because it hit me that Harry Potter was actually an orphan as well, and his situation is closely related to mine because I lost my mom, and so it's like we share in the same pain or something. So despite all that, he still managed to become the greatest wizard of all, and how he defeated the basilisk and saved Ginny and all that, and his friends stood by him throughout. So this gave me an inspiration. I told myself, if Harry Potter could do it, despite all the challenges that he went through, I can do it myself. So I started reading Harry Potter, and it actually became my best book ever in all the books I have ever read. I love Harry Potter, the movie, the books, everything to do with Harry Potter. I just love it. And when I started coming to the library, I saw many more books. At some point, I'd come and then open a book with pictures, and I just turn the pages looking at it, looking at the minor details in every drawing and every single picture that's in the place, and I realized the beauty of the world around us, which people today don't see because they're blinded by greed and corruption and all those vices. But in the books I have read in the library, they take us to the other side of the world that we all don't know about, the parts of the world where we have not seen yet, where the ocean is clear, the rivers are clear. You can stand at the top and you can still see at the bottom of the river where the rocks are, and under the sea it's beautiful with the coral reefs and all kinds of fish and the colors. And as I read more books, I discovered that I loved playing around with words, especially rhymes. When I write a poem, I wanted to have rhymes at the end of each single line. So I started writing poetry, but a bit more seriously. Okay, I didn't really know that it would take me somewhere, but I started writing poetry. I just write them, I'd give someone to read, or I'd write them and keep them. So I wrote so many of them, and actually came up with about 50 poems, and I just kept them. At some point when I feel like I miss home or I miss my mom or something, I just write a poem. And at the end of it all, it actually made me feel a bit better. And last year in February 2015, a competition was held. It's called the Nico 15 competition. In the competition, you are to write either an essay, a poem, a drawing, or a song about how you want Kenya to be in the next 15 years. That is my Kenya for 2030. So I submitted a poem and a drawing. In the drawing, half of the part was the Kenya that we live in today, that was in black and white, and the other part was the Kenya that I dream of for tomorrow, and I colored that part. In the poem, I wrote about the challenges that we face in Kenya. This include hunger, poverty, lack of education, lack of proper health facilities, and especially corruption. And corruption is actually the major problem that attributes to the vicious cycle of all the other challenges that we face. And in the remaining stanzas of the poem, I wrote about the Kenya that I dream of in the next 15 years, a Kenya free from corruption, with good education, good health facilities, I myself being a doctor among the others, and no poverty, with equity and equitable distribution of resources and equality in gender. I wasn't actually serious about it. I just said, I can just give this a try. I've been writing poems all my life. I've not done anything with them. This time I can give it a try. So I submitted it. I actually prayed about it, that I go somewhere with it for the effort that I tried to participate in the competition. And in April, during our closing assembly in school, our principal read a letter that I had won the competition in the whole country. I was shocked, I was surprised, I was happy. I didn't even know what to expect. I was thankful to God for the opportunity, and I believe that since I was able to participate in the competition and actually win, I knew that God had a plan for me in future. You know, in the past, people would say, God has a reason for everything, but I'd ask, what's the reason? I don't see it yet. But when I won this competition, I said, God, I can see your work in my life, and I believe that you have bigger plans for me in the future. And June, they sent a letter saying that I was to go to New York to represent the Kenyan children in the United Nations General Assembly. It's just mentioned an assembly, and at some point you just feel blank and dizzy, and then you come back and it hits you, Ashley, you're going to New York to represent children. I was able to interact with Malala, and she inspired me because she won the Nobel Peace Prize for fighting for the education of the youths in the world, especially in her country. And this inspired me to also represent the youths in the country and in the world in general, so that I can be able to raise their standards. And I also saw David Beckham, and this is an inspiration to me because he has achieved so much in especially the world of sports, in football, and he's renowned because of that. I went to the concert of Beyonce and Ed Sheeran, and I love music. And I was happy to actually meet Gracia Machel in person, and I shook her hand, and she actually hugged me, and she inspired me, and she told me that I should continue to believe in what I can achieve, and I should stay strong to what I want and continue being the representative for the youths in my country. I have been writing poems for quite some time, but I never thought that it was something that is really extraordinary. To me, it was just like writing a composition. Everyone can do it. But I didn't realize that this is a gift that God has given me. I never thought that these poems will take me somewhere. Just one poem that I wrote could take me that far. The library has inspired me and helped me to grow in my journey with art and poetry because of the books that are in the library. Books such as those on sharks and the environment have helped me in my drawing and in the poetry to help me bring out what I want other people to see, those people who cannot have access to those books. And I have read biographies and autobiographies on people such as Nelson Mandela. There's a book on Oprah and Barack Obama, Ben Carson. These people have become my role models because of their achievements. And I also believe that if I also stand strong, I can fight for what I believe in, and in the future I shall be part of the leaders. And in leadership, from them we can see that leadership is not ordering people around, but leadership is actually taking action and being a servant of the people.
This is a gift from Bloomsbury. Bloomsbury published the Harry Potter books, and I told them about you, and they wanted you to have this. So this is original artwork for Harry Potter. This was designed by the illustrator for the new books of Harry Potter, and so you see he signed it here, and it's one of the original pieces, and so they wanted you to have this.
I can't even express what I'm feeling. I think it's an inspiration to me because, first of all, I'm sure this is one of the few pieces that are there, and the one piece in Kenya, and I have it. I'm holding it in my hands. A piece that's in my favorite book. This painting has inspired me more to continue drawing and to believe in what I can achieve.